So I thought I'd finally worked my way up to a decent extraction system. And this system was meant to incorporate all my tools, from my table saw to thicknesser, all the way down to my sander and all my hand tools. And then the other day when I was doing a project, I noticed a lot of sawdust was bypassing the cyclone and going into the cam vac. So my initial thoughts were that this cam vac was just maybe too strong for the shop. And to quote Dennis from Hooked on Wood, it's a beast. And he's right. This thing is so powerful, it'll rip paint off a car. Well, not literally. In fact, the first time I turned it on, it sucked the walls of this metal bin in, to the point where I had to add a pressure relief valve and reinforce the walls with some sort of aluminium perspex. So then my next thought was that maybe this separator wasn't big enough, and maybe it just wasn't designed to handle such a strong cam vac. Now, speaking of separators, the reason I was looking into this was because I'd seen at the Waltz, which claims to capture 99.5% of the debris, and at this point my separator was probably catching less than 50%. But another issue that baffled me was that on the opposite end of the cam vac, I was getting some real weak suction in comparison to the strength of the cam vac. And initially I thought perhaps this got to do with the pipework going from 100 to 63 to 50. So I did some experiments. So I quickly abandoned that, realizing that on such a small run of pipe or ducting, it was going to make no difference at all. Perhaps on a longer ducting system it might affect it, but not on this one. So YouTube has a lot of information on dust extractors and dust separators, and I've never seen a bad one yet. In fact, it's the reason why I got one, and I'm very grateful for those videos. And actually, I've had 2 versions of this before, and they've never been a problem. So I've come to the conclusion it can only be one thing. So the only other thing I could think of was the pressure relief valve. This is the only other thing that I installed on this system, which the other previous 2 systems didn't have. And while this was a great solution for my problem to stop the walls from collapsing at the time, I hadn't considered the effects it would have on the flow of the cyclone. Let me explain. The way a cyclone is supposed to work is if your tool is on the end here, it'll suck the sawdust in, spirals down, drops in there. That works very well in a sealed vacuum. The air will continue back to the vac. So once you incorporate a hole here, pressure release valve. If you've got a hole here, you're now introducing air through this hole, your pressure relief valve coming through here. Its only direction it can go is straight up and back towards the cam vac, which means as the debris, the dust is falling through that hole, it's pushing it back up, taking it back to the cam vac. The other problem I had was with my tools losing suction. Obviously, if you've got 2 holes, 2 openings, you're going to have to split the air pressure between the 2. So coincidentally, that has made a massive improvement. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Make sure you watch the next video. It's going to be a good one.